Hi everybody and welcome back to the KK Zone. As always, I am Kara Kaufman, your host, and tonight was a tough one, my friends. This was, in the first 6 games of the season, the Yankees have now gone extra innings twice and they have lost them both. Bleh. It feels like when you watch a game for that long, you just want to come away with a win. I know both teams want to win, but come on, I'm a Yankees fan, so I want the Yankees to win if I've invested that much time in the game. Tonight, they certainly did not. So why don't we go ahead and get that bad news over with first. I'm just going to go ahead and try and plow through this recap. So, ready, set, go. Yankees attempting to win the 3rd straight game against the Orioles and sweep the series, but they did not. The Orioles prevailed in 11 innings with a 4-3 final score. The Yankees' good news, though, was Jameson Taillon making his first pinstripe start looked very strong. He only went 4 2/3, largely because of a pitch count limit, but he, in those 4 2/3, walked 0 and struck out 7, which has good things about how his stuff looked. He missed location on approximately 2 pitches, both of which were hit out of the park for solo homers. Yankees played from behind most of the game, 2-1. The pitching has continued to look really strong. Nick Nelson, Jonathan Loaizaga, and Aroldis Chapman were all lights out in regulation. Chapman gets a special shout out for having all of his pitches working and hitting 102 on the gun. He's looking real sharp. Unfortunately, it was to no avail. The guys who were almost heroes tonight were Gio Urshela hitting a clutch double to drive in Mike Tauchman as the tying run in the bottom of the 8th. It was an incredibly fast running around the bases by Mike Tauchman. He beats a tag from a pretty perfect throw, and that was super uplifting. Unfortunately, they could not score in the bottom of the 9th to win it, so Orioles scored on the top of the 10th. The game is saved again, this time by the unlikeliest Kyle Higashioka, who came in because Gary Sanchez was pinch run for, and he had a, again, game-tying hit to drive in Speedy Tyler Wade. These are both great plays. Unfortunately, Chad Green was pitching to a lot of contact, and he got himself into trouble, and the Yankees ended up going down. So yeah, that about sums it up. The negatives here obviously are, number 1, the Yankees lost. Number 2, that they couldn't come through with guys in the clutch. And number 3, I didn't get to this in the recap, but the Yankees had, when the first run was allowed in the top of the 10th inning to the Orioles, it was on an error by Gleyber Torres, and I can't gloss it over. I love Gleyber, but this was a bad play and one he 150% should have made. Yeah, it's possible a slightly more experienced first baseman saves him that error, but ultimately, he had no reason not to make that throw. He just spiked it, it bounced with spin, and poor Jay Bruce had no shot. He'd already made 2 pretty good saves on not great throws from both Urshela and Green, so can't do it all, and I think Gleyber worked really hard in his defense in the offseason, and we're waiting to see the results, and he's young, he's talented, he can do it, and I'm waiting for him to do it because this sucked to see, frankly. When you're in the 10th inning, you got the 2 outs, you gotta make that play that does not allow the go-ahead run to score. Could have been different, but also, the other thing, and this is both a positive and a negative, is the Yankees had 13 hits tonight. That is so many hits. So that is fantastic. They're making a lot of contact. They're making a lot of loud contact, for that matter. But the fact that it only resulted in 3 runs is not great. So yeah, Gleyber's error was very costly, and that can't happen. Also, though, generally when you hit the ball hard and you have 13 hits in a game, you're going to score more than 3 runs, and hopefully it won't come down to the nitty-gritty in extra innings. This team is built to have a great offense, and tonight, they certainly showed signs. The timing of those hits wasn't super great, and even with those 13 hits, there were still a bunch of balls hit hard that didn't go for hits, so that's really promising on balance. The most unfortunate stat from tonight, though, is this. Yankees pitching. They struck out 17 hitters. That is, 17 Orioles went down on strikes. That is a lot, and they allowed 4 hits. So first of all, that's a great job by the pitching staff, just fantastic. It is the first time in franchise history a staff has struck out that many and allowed that few hits and lost. So that tells you how improbable this loss was, which ultimately makes it super annoying to watch as a fan, but also means that in the same situation again, the outcome would most likely be different. So I am, while annoyed that I watched a sloppy and unfortunate loss, am happy that at least the underlying trends of this game point towards it usually being a win. So, you know, kind of you win some, you lose some. You wish you'd won this one, but you lost it, so you turn the page and you move on to tomorrow. As of this exact moment, the Yankees are exactly at 500. They are 3-3, which puts them in a 3-way tie for second place in the division behind your American League East leading Orioles. It's early. Weird things happen in the standings. But yeah, that was today, and now we move on and hope for better things on Friday after tomorrow's off day. The only other item of note out of Yankee land today was Aaron Judge. He did not play today. So yeah, by the way, that was 13 hits without Judge in the lineup. So, now why wasn't he in the lineup? Well, he's dealing with something. They're not calling it an injury. He's not going on the IL. The distinction between hurt and injured is an interesting one. A lot of people were tweeting today about Derek Jeter's old quote about how everyone plays hurt. When you're injured, you can't play, which I think is useful here. I mean, the Yankees have absolutely lost credibility when it comes to telling us the truth about player injuries and being forthcoming and gauging the severity of those injuries correctly. So, they've lost the benefit of the doubt. But they did say they gave him a day today because he is feeling, I think what was described as soreness in his left side. So I get not wanting to have the big guy swing when he's feeling soreness in his left side. Tomorrow's a team off day. Not sure he'll play Friday. It's 3 games in a row on turf in Tampa, so at most I would think he would play 2 of those, so wouldn't be shocked to see him get Friday off too. Ultimately, keeping him healthy is more important than playing him in these early season games. But it's not great that he's already dealing with something. Hopefully this precautionary, slow approach actually helps him not turn what is just some pain, hopefully, into an injury. So, Aaron Judge, rest up, take care of that side. We need it strong so you can hit more homers for us. Thank you very much. So one fun thing from today, as we've already talked about in an earlier episode, Jameson Taillon, tonight's starter, is a huge coffee aficionado. This we knew. What I thought was amazing tonight on the broadcast was they were talking about how he brews coffee at his locker. So first of all, that's pretty funny. I'm imagining a very intricate coffee setup, perhaps a pour-over station in his locker, like next to his equipment. Not super sanitary, but, whatever. There's no health rating in the Yankees clubhouse. It's not a food establishment. But I love the idea that he's making coffee in his locker. And Aaron Boone was actually the guy with the quote here he was raving about Taillon's coffee. In fact, he said that often he will delay Taillon going out in the field until he's made him a cup of coffee to drink. Nice gig if you can get it. Make one of your great pitchers make you coffee before he goes out and does his work. I mean, hey, clearly Taillon has a love of coffee that he wants to share. So, take advantage if you happen to be in the clubhouse with him when he's about to brew his coffee. The quote from Boone here was, Taillon, quote, knows what he's doing in the coffee game. Yeah, sure. I would love to go to Yankee Stadium and go in the clubhouse and have Taillon make me a cup of coffee to order. That sounds pretty neat. Also, this strikes me that this should be a web series. Just like Taillon making dudes coffee and having conversations with them. I know I already pitched a series earlier in one of the earlier episodes with Cole and Taillon drinking things and talking, but this is a spin-off where it's Cole's busy doing something else, like, developing a 5th pitch that actually rises upwards and flies over the batter's head, and he strikes out on that. So he's off doing that, but Taillon has some time to spare, so he's brewing dude's coffee and chatting. I think we should look into making this happen on his days he's not pitching. The good news, though, is the coffee seems to have done whatever it has to do, and Taillon did great tonight. I think we haven't talked enough about what a great comeback this is for the guy who's had 2 Tommy Johns and is a cancer survivor. He hadn't pitched in for frickin' ever, and tonight he came out and, yeah, it wasn't perfect, but it was really good and extremely promising. So, very early yet, but early returns on Kluber and Taillon make me happy. Happy for them, especially, and also happy for the Yankees, and therefore happy for me. Just when I thought I was done talking about tonight's game, I realized I forgot an important tidbit, which is the last out of the game. It's called adding insult to injury. Not literal injury, don't worry, I think, mostly. But, bottom of the 11th inning, the ghost runner on second is Gio Urshela, and Gardner, first up in the inning, bunts him over to third. Fine, great. DJ LeMahieu gets a fly ball to shallow center, and Gio is just not that fast. So they had him try to tag up. Did not succeed, obviously, so double play to end the game. Play at the plate was not that close, but the catcher attempting to apply the tag, you don't have a lot of time to think there. You want to catch and tag, and he caught and tagged. Unfortunately, the tag was in Gio Urshela's face. So not only did he run into the final out of the game, he also got a face full of leather. Ow. He lay there for a second after he attempted to slide into home plate, and I thought he would hurt himself, but actually it turns out he just got slapped in the face with a glove, which, don't get me wrong, that does not feel good. But I prefer that to it being, like a strained hammy. This is just not the way you want to end the game. So, second guessing, Gleyber Torres was on deck. He didn't have a great day at the plate, but I think I prefer the chances of his getting a hit there to the chances of Gio Urshela scoring from third after on a very shallow fly ball to center. So, don't know. I mean, ultimately, I guess maybe I'm glad the way this game was going that he didn't score the tying run and then go on to extra innings. But given the chance, I would give Gleyber a shot. That's all. I think he was hungry to redeem himself. So does that mean he would have struck out on 3 pitches? Maybe. But it could also mean that he hit a, at least a game-tying hit or a walk-off home run. Next time, we'll find out, hopefully, because, hopefully we just won't go to extra innings next time. Let's just score more runs. That's my advice. We're going to score more runs next time. I'm calling more runs tomorrow. You heard it here first. Okay, so lastly, just when you thought there couldn't possibly be any more items checked off on our bingo cards this early in the season, I thought that. You probably thought that. Well, we were all wrong. It's time for another update on baseball bingo. So tonight, Ronaldo is the lucky one because last night, in an insane game at Coors Field, Ryan McMahon of the Colorado Rockies hit 3 home runs in a game. That's a thing that happened and is very impressive. What is less impressive is that the Rockies then also lost that game. You don't see that every day, my friends. So when you're thinking tonight's Yankees loss really sucked, and yeah, it did, you could also be a guy who hit 3 home runs in a game and watch your team still lose. That just feels even more deflating somehow. So, it could always be worse. But what is great is that we are checking off another item on Ronaldo's bingo card. So congratulations, Ronaldo. That 3 home run in a game box. Check. So to conclude, we must have our baseball haiku. Here we go. Lots of men on base, but sadly, most did not score. A face tag ends it. That's it there. Nothing more to say about that. That sums up the game pretty neatly. And with the last words of the night, I give you the Bard, the great William Shakespeare, this from Hamlet. A hit, a very palpable hit. Well, friends, the Yankees had 13 very palpable hits tonight, but yet it was not quite enough to get them over the edge to that win. And also our friend Gio Urshela took a very palpable hit to the face. Hopefully they bounce back, he bounces back, we all bounce back. Tomorrow's a day off to enjoy. And then Friday, right back at him against the Tampa Bay Rays. If we get 13 hits in that game, I feel fairly confident we'll win it. Hopefully I won't have to eat those words. And the Yankees will take care of business down in St. Petersburg, Florida. We'll talk about that then. But until then, go Yanks.